Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where the eagle-eyed will see that I'm back on my PC today, so I hope that the sound is up to scratch. Now, we've had a request to solve this puzzle. It's an extreme rated Sudoku. It looks like it's from a Sudoku app from the screenshot. Now, we've done a couple of these before, or I have on the channel, and they are tended to be very long videos because they are extremely difficult puzzles. So I'm going to just plough straight into it. What I did, I entered the puzzle, and then this software here, which is called Duncan's Sudoku Solver, has the thing where it will grade the puzzle for you. And you see it's put difficulty factor 68. Now, I think that means it's very hard. I think that most sort of fiendish, super fiendish puzzles tend to get a 20 or a 30 rating. So I'm not sure what this means, but I suspect we're in for a bit of a journey on this one. So as usual, what I'll do is I'll pencil mark in 3x3 blocks where a number can only go in two positions. You can see the 9s are locked into one of these two squares in this grid, and we'll see how far we get with that. I'm pretty sure it won't be far enough because it doesn't tend to be, but at least it'll allow us to make a start using standard notation. I will have to go for it in more extensive notation, I'm sure, at some point. So you can see we lock 7s into one of these two squares. With this 7, that means this square has got to be a 7. And that means this square has got to be a 7. So we're left with placing 8 and 9 to these two positions. So we can pencil mark that straight away. We can pencil mark 7s here, look. Can't do further than that. 5s, 5s, 5s into one of these two squares. 9 is locked here, look, because of the interaction of this 9, this 9, and this 9. That means I can also place a 9 there, a 9 here, and an 8 here. So we're off to a little bit of a start. As usual with these puzzles, to be honest, the first few numbers tend to be very gettable, and then you grind to an enormous halt. So all I've done there is complete column 5 using the only possibilities for the numbers left. You can see now I can actually go further than that and go 8, 1, 8 as well. So we are off to a reasonable start. 1s into these two squares, 1s into these two squares. The other thing we need here is 5s. So we've now got a 1, 5 pair into these two squares. Oh, and we've got a mirroring that. We've got 5s here, look. Okay. So there's a first possibility for a trick, but I've seen I can place a 2 here, so I'll just put that in while I'm seeing it. Is there anything more we can do? Yes, we can pencil mark 2s at the bottom there. Let's do that as well. And we've got 3 and 6 to place into these two squares, so I'm going to notate that, which means we must need 2 and 5 into these two positions, and 1 and 4 into those two positions. We've got loads of pairs going on now. Now the point I was looking at with these 5s is a uniqueness issue. So is it possible that either of these squares contains a 1, either this square or this square? And you can see immediately, hopefully, it's not possible, because if I do put a 1 in here, what will happen is I will get a 5 in here. And then I will have this so-called deadly pattern, where I'll have a 1 here, a 1 here, a 5 here, and a 5 here. And there would be no way, if you looked at the solution and it contained that pattern, of disambiguating that solution from the alternative, where there was a 1 here and a 5 here. So I think it's fair to say that neither this square nor this square can contain a 1. Now, is that helpful, though? Well, if it is, I can't see how it's immediately helpful. So I think we'll just remember there's no 1 in either of these two squares, and we'll carry on with our pencil marks. So let's have a look at this. So we've got 4 and it's not 4 and 7, it must be 4 and 6 to place here. So this is going to be a 4. 4, 6. So again, we get pencil mark 4s into these two squares. This matches the positions of the 4s up here. So I now know that, that because the 4s in this 3x3 block are locked into columns 1 and 3, and the 4s in this block are locked into columns 1 and 3, I've got enough 4s now in the puzzle in columns 1 and 3. I can't, for example, put a 4 in any of these squares in this 3x3 block, because I'll end up with a repeated 4 in either column 1 or column 3. Same over here. So I know that the 4s are locked into one of those two squares now because of the 4 here. I don't think we can go further than that yet. So 1's pencil marked here, 8's pencil marked here, and we're still left with where to place a 5. So you can see now we've got a 1-5 pair in this 3x3 block, so this square can't contain an 8 anymore. If it did, I'd have to put the numbers 1 and 5 in this square, which is clearly impossible. So this is going to be the 8. And that means this is an 8 too. And we can pencil mark some 8s down there, look. 2, 4 and 6 across here. We might come back and pencil mark that later. 1, 3, 5 and 6 across there. No, I can't see how to resolve that just yet. I'm sort of encouraged though, because we have actually got quite a bit of the grid filled. And normally with these puzzles, as I say, you make a reasonable start and grind to a halt earlier than this, so I'm hoping that means we might be in for a slightly easier time. Although where the next number is coming from is currently eluding me. 5. Let's have a look at column 3. The reason I picked column 3 here, by the way, it probably proved to be completely useless, but it just feels like this combination 2, 5, 8 and 7 are different from what I'm seeing in the rows here. So I'm hoping I might trap either a hidden single or a hidden pair. So 1, 3, 6, 8, no, 1, 3, 4, 6 and 9, and that's no good. This is good. This can only be a 1 or a 6. This square here can only be a 4 or a 6, I think. Aha, there you go. Well, it wasn't quite a hidden double, it's a hidden triple on the numbers 1, 4 and 6 going down column 3. So that means I need, this is going to be a 3 or a 9, this is going to be a 3 or a 9. So this is where I'm going to start abandoning standard technique, because this is reasonably interesting, I think. Now, how can we use that? Don't know yet. Let's check the central row of the grid as well. As you see, 3, 4, 6 and 8. So again here we've got a 4, 8 pair. 3, 8's locked into one of these two positions. Again, I'm just scanning down, checking for X-wings there, though there isn't one. So, okay, that's not going to be useful. But we did have 4s trapped there, didn't we? So that square is more limit. That is a 3 or a 6, this square. So, is there anything more we can tell about this? Was 2, 4 or 6 here. I think that's completely open, isn't it? I can't tell anything more about that. Let's check this square. 1, 3, 5 and 6. And that's a 3, 5 or 6. Just trying to see whether there's any way of getting rid of any of these numbers here. Oh yes, hang on. Yes, there is, because it's quite hard to see, but no, actually I'm talking nonsense in my own mind. That's not going to work, what I was about to do there. I'm going to check this for more of this row, I think. So 1, 3, 5 and 6. Oh, hang on. That's just a 5, isn't it? 1, Am I going mad? 1, 3, 5. No, this is a 5. That's great, maybe. It allows me to unwind this 5, 7 up here. Now I know, so there's a 7 in one of these two positions. This can't be, so now there's a 3, 6 pair in column 1. Okay. And I can unwind this 5, 1 down here. So let's do that. That's going to allow me to pencil mark ones down in those two squares. And right, now this column's also interesting. So let's work on the 3 and the 6 though first. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 7 to place. So this is a 2 or a 4, I think, now. No, because we've got the 4s in here. So this is 1, 2. Okay, so we get 1, 2, and 7 into those two squares. Oh, right. Okay, so now we can pencil mark 3 6s over here. Ooh, hang on. So now we do have two. We've got two things here. If we look at the 6s, first of all, I'll add some highlighting afterwards, but there's an interesting juxtaposition here. We've got 3 6, 3 6, 3 6. Now, first thing to note, and I'll just state it up front, is that many people would assume, therefore, that there couldn't be a 3 and a 6 in this square. Now, that's not correct. They would try and use uniqueness and say, we've got this deadly pattern here, like we had with the 1 5 earlier, where I was looking at that. But remember, in this situation, each of these 3 6 possibilities is in a different 3 by 3 block. So it can be resolved by the other numbers in its 3 by 3 block. So this is not a uniqueness situation, so we can't say anything about 3 and 6 in this square. But if we have a look now at the central row of the grid and ask where a 6 can go, we can only place a 6 in those two positions. Now, this is interesting because this is a finned X-wing now on 6s. And what do I mean when I say a finned X-wing? Again, I'll add some highlighting afterwards, but the finned X-wing is nice because it allows us to ask a simple question. So this is the fin of the X-wing, i.e. it's not part of the X shape. Either this will be a 6, or we'll have an X-wing on 6s. Therefore, we can state with certainty that we cannot have a 6, for example, in this square. Because if this square contained a 6, it would either violate the X-wing or violate our other assumption, which this was a 6. So there is no 6 in this square. Now, the reason that's interesting, this is lovely, isn't it? Because once this square doesn't contain a 6, ask yourself where a 6 can go in column 9. It can't go here. It can go here, obviously. It can't go here for the reasons I've just described. It can go here. And it can't go here because of this 6. So then we have an X-wing, just a normal X-wing on 6s. Once we use the fin to remove the possibility of the 6 in this square, we now have an X-wing on 6s looking at the columns. So now we know there cannot be any more 6s in rows 5 and rows 8. Now why does that matter? Well, this square. The fin itself is now disproved. This square cannot contain a 6. Now, I think I highlighted this as being a 6 and an 8 for a reason. Let me just double check. So 3, 4, 6 and 8. We've said it can't be a 6 anymore. It can't be a 4. Can it be a 3? Oh, bother. I think it can be, can't it? That's annoying. I was hoping it was actually going to resolve this number altogether, but I don't think it does. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, well let's just make sure we pencil mark everything in here. So 3, 4, 6, and 8. So this is 3, 4, 6, I think. Is 4 still possible here? Yeah, I think it is. I think the 4's actually are pencil marked into these two positions. So that is a shame. But it was nearly clever. Ugh, sorry, I've got a ladybird on my screen now. I have to flick it off. Sorry about that. Right, might edit that out later. Okay, so I didn't get anywhere with that now. That's very frustrating. So let's carry on going around the grid, penciling in doubles. I've noted this square's a 2 or a 6, isn't it? So let's put that in. 1, 2, 3, and 9 here. So that's a 1 or a 3. This square is a 1, 2, or a 3. Again, here I'm noticing that 2's are restricted here in column 9. The 2 can go in this square or this square. Let's just pencil mark this one in. So 1, 2, 3, and 9. So this is a 2, 9 double. 1, 2, 3, and 9. So 2, 1, 2. So we've got quite an interesting bottom row of the grid there as well. Right, I can't really see how to make use of that. Let's check column 6. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. I've got to be careful here though, because I had the point about the 1's. There's no 1 in this square for the reasons we described earlier. So this can be a 2. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 5, or 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. I can't say anything about the 1's there. Checking pencil marks to make sure I'm not underselling what I can do to this cell. No, I can't see how to eliminate anything more. Okay, well let's check this cell, because this cell has been affected by the X-wing and it's been affected by the 1 that I ruled out earlier. So that being the case, the remaining numbers this could be are 2, which it can be, 5, can't be 6 because of the X-wing. Oh, it's just 2 and 5. Let's just double check this again. It can't be 1 because of the uniqueness. It can be 2. Can't be 3 or 4. Can be 5. Can't be 6 because of the X-wing. Can't be 7, 8, or 9. Yes, so this is... Okay, so there we go. There is a little trick we can do. We now have a triple bending round these 3 cells. We have a 2, 6, a 2, 5, 6, and a 2, 5. So, what does that mean? That means we have to look at this central square of the pivot. It's not quite a Y-wing, this. It's called something like an XYZ wing, because there are 3 possibilities in the pivot cell, the central cell of the bent triple. But we can still normally get a number out of this, or a restriction. So you can see this number could be a 2. If it's not a 2, let's say it's a 5 for a moment. If it's a 5, this cell would be a 2. And if it's a 6, this cell would be a 2. So we can hunt in the grid now for any cell that can see all 3 of these cells, because we know any cell that can see all 3 of these cells cannot contain a 2, due to the fact we know one of them will be a 2. Now, so the obvious one in there is that cell. Now, why does that matter? The answer is, I don't know. Let's check this square as well. So 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 3, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3 or 7. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I'm just going to do this column. I have noticed something about this square. It might be interesting. Let's come back to it. 2, 4, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, that's nice. This can be a 2 or an 8, this square here. Now there is a beautiful little trick we can do that's going to give us a number. May even crack the puzzle. So the place we have to look at is this square. And I think the technical name for this is an empty rectangle, but what you may have noticed earlier, I referred to the fact that I located a 2 into one of these two positions down here. And this empty rectangle is important in that regard because you can see, I'll add the highlighting at the end, this little block of 4 cells here, this 2 by 2 arrangement, has no 2 in it. So I know that in this 3 by 3 block, the 2 will either appear along here in row 6, one of these 3 cells, or it'll appear in one of these 3 cells, coming down column 9, because I know it can't be in the so-called empty rectangle. So knowing that, look at the effect this has on this cell here. Either the 2 is in one of these 3 positions, in which case I can eliminate it from this square, or it's in one of these 3 positions, and that, because this then could not be a 2, would give us a 2 over here and affects this cell in exactly the same way. It would allow us to eliminate the 2. This cell here cannot contain a 2. Now we've just established it's a 2 or an 8, so let's remove the 2 from there and put in an 8, and maybe that will help us. And it does, doesn't it? So immediately this square must be an 8. Can remove the 8 from here. I can't remember if I pencil mark this one in which case this might be a bare 7 now, but I'll have to check it. And I think this was a 4 or 8 double. Let's just double check that. So we've got 3, 4 and 6 I was looking at. Yes, so this is a 4 now. Let's put that in. It means this is not a 4. 4, 4. This has got to be a 4 up here. Okay. And I wanted to check this cell, didn't I? So 1, 3, 6 and 7. So this can be a 1, I think. 1. Did I rule out a 6 from this square? Don't think I did either. Don't quite know how the pencil marks were working there, but oh well. Oh, we've got a 3, 6 double now in column 9. Look, 3, 6, 3, 6. So that has to be ruled out. So we've now got 1, 2, 5. Okay, but now we have got another thing going on. Let's look at this cell. Now, the important thing here is we're trying to get at this cell here and whether this cell can contain a 3. Because watch what happens with the options for this cell. It's a fairly simple chain to spot this one. So let's go through it. This could be a 3, but if it's not a 3, it's a 1. Now the moment this is a 1, this cell has to be a 2. The moment this cell is a 2, this cell is a 6. And the moment this cell is a 6, this cell is a 3. So either this is a 3 or this is a 3. And clearly we can therefore establish that there cannot be a 3 in this square. So we can get rid of the 3 possibility, that gives us a 6 here. Now maybe that's going to help us. That means this is a 3. Now I've pencil marked 1 and 3 into this square, and I think I did that carefully. Now let me just double check, because when you start to use hybrid pencil marks, it's very easy to make a mistake. So why can't, what are the options for this square? It can't be a 3 anymore. 1, 2, 5 and 6. So why did I think this couldn't be a 2? Did I do any work to establish this couldn't be a 2 earlier? I worked to establish these can't be 1s. I did X-wing work and finned X-wing work to ensure there were no 6s. Ah, yes, I've remembered. I found the bent triple down here. That's why that wasn't a 2. So this is, in fact, a 1. And that means we can unwind all of that as well. Now, so when we go further, I've got 1, 7 into this square. That's probably correct, isn't it? 1, 3, 7, yes. So this is a 7. 7, 3, 1, 2, 6, and 3, and 6. So this is now looking really good. If this is right, we really are nearly home and hosed. 7 here, so this, yeah, there was a 3, 6 double in column 1, so this couldn't be a 6, that was correct. So now with this 7 here, this must be a 1. 1, 6. That was 4, that looks right to me. 2, 4 and 1 unwinding at the top. I think this might be solved. I don't want to speak too soon, but it's looking really good, isn't it? This 3 here now resolves the 9, the 3, 6. That's a, oh, no, that's not an 8. That is a 9. 9. This is a 3. 2, 5. So if everything's worked out correctly, 2 and 7 into these 2 positions, this should be a 2, and there we go, we are done. So it was a long video, I mean that's 27 minutes, but to be honest, that felt relatively smooth. There's some very interesting techniques. I loved the finned X-wing and X-wing combination in the middle here, and then we did a bent triple into a little chain there at the end to finish it off. So thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. There's should be a button on the screen anytime now that has a crossword on it. That's to subscribe, and there should also be a button with a Sudoku on it, and that takes you to our Patreon page. And for anybody who is in a position to do so and would like to, you become a patron. I think the minimum is $2 a month. Then we're creeping up towards the point where we're going to do a special video on an Okuyama Sudoku, and those of you who follow the channel will know I view Okuyama as the greatest Sudoku setter in the world. So please consider that if you can. We'd really appreciate it, and we'll be back again for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic very soon. Thanks for watching.